This computer.
I better shut my door. My son is on his phone.
All right. Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Thursday Night Shift. It is March 30th, and here we are wrapping up another month. I don't know if you can believe it. I can't believe it, but first month of the catalog season is complete. We hope it's been a good one. We hope you've enjoyed these new products and all that goes with that. Tonight, our question is for our panelists, and of course, if you want to answer this in any of your chats, feel free to. The question is going to be, how do you fit Scentsy into your everyday life? So does anybody want to kick us off with that? I think we have Melissa, Jill, Heather, JP, and myself today. Go ahead, my dear.
I would say, and if you guys, I assume most of you watch Instagram stories, scrolling through Facebook stories, whatever you're doing. So I have to say that it took a little bit to get out of the mindset that we are all selling something and to just weave Scentsy in through your daily life. So for instance, if you're getting on Instagram stories or whatever stories is a great place to just drop little snippets of your day every day so that people can become invested in what you're doing. So I think it's super important for me anyway, is just to have natural conversations. For example, the other day, yesterday, I went to the post office for the first time in, I don't even know how long. We all use pirate ship. Most of us ship from here. We don't really have to, or post office will pick things up. But I had my save the dates. So I went in because someone said that I had to hand cancel and do all these things. And in my stories, I was telling the story, but I just randomly said and how much I was dreading going because, sorry for any postal workers, a lot of them aren't known for being super friendly at the post office. So I just said how I even brought Scentsy scent circles with me. I didn't really expand on that, but I just said that I brought Scentsy gifts with me so that I could give them out, whether they were nice or not, hoping that would help them be nice to me. You don't always have to be selling. You just have to weave it into your conversation so it sounds natural, because then more people that don't know are going to be like, oh, what's a scent circle? What are you talking about? Can I see what you gave them? It strikes up conversation. So I think if you get into that mode of when you're on stories, you're creating a reel, that you're talking to all your friends. I think that's the easiest way to kind of describe it, and just think about how you can just weave Scentsy into natural conversation so that more people will ask you what it is and you can strike up those conversations. Heather?
Yeah, so mine is, y'all know my daily routines. I mean, I fit Scentsy into everywhere I go. And how I do that is really striking up conversations and being kind to people, exactly how Jilly Sue was saying. It really has nothing to do with Scentsy at all. I will never lead out the gate with Scentsy. I want to get to know them. I want to ask questions about them. I met a friend for dinner tonight. The first thing I'm asking her is, hey, how are the grandkids? How's your daughter? How's your son? It is not about me. It is about them. How many questions can you ask them about them? But the most importantly, are you truly listening to what they're saying, right? You can ask questions till you're blue in the face, but if you're really not listening to that person and absorbing it, it doesn't mean anything, right? They can see that sincerity, and it really is about connecting to that person just as an individual way before businesses. People do business with those that they like, know, and trust, and you have to earn that way before you get in the door with Scentsy. So whenever I'm going, I'm wearing a Scentsy t-shirt. In fact, the bartender tonight, when we were out eating a taco salad, he says, Heather, you're not in a t-shirt. I said, oh my gosh, you're absolutely right. I'm not, because I have a Zoom call tonight and I have to get dressed up for it. And really, that's not the reason why I got dressed up for it. It's because my friend always dresses so cute. And I'm like, I better dress up in something other than a t-shirt because she always looks so cute. I'm going to surprise her and wear a non-t-shirt tonight. But the fact that he noticed that, right? Like it's those little conversations, those little things that mean nothing, but he feels like he knows me because I'm always in a t-shirt with my hair pulled back, right? That's what I'm known for. And it really is just connecting with those people. And then you can lead in the way. And he knows what I do. Everybody knows what I do because I will fit it into the conversation at the right time. There's a time and a place for everything. And you've got to fit it in naturally, because I think that's where most of us start feeling uncomfortable or scared. Like, I don't want to be the pushy salesperson. I don't want to shove it down your throat. 9 times out of 10, it's because you're leading that in a very weird conversation. It doesn't fit. So it'd be like me asking, hey, how are you doing this Thursday night? And you don't even answer me and you skip. talking about something else completely and don't even answer me. It's like, it just doesn't fit and have the conversation. So just get comfortable talking to people, having conversations, and it becomes a lot more natural the more you practice and the more you do it. And you can gradually just fit it into any conversation, whether that's a tire, the sticker on your car, whether, hey, what is your number? Let's get together. I think we would love fun having a bourbon night. And my text message says, I can't wait to talk to you, Heather Gorsuch, Scentsy Independent Consultant on the bottom, right? It's just an automatic tag. I'm not even saying it, but if I'm texting someone, it says it, right? There's like nonchalant ways to put little plugs in. So you can do that as well. Okay, JP, your turn.
So I had to think about this. You know, when we've been in as long as we have, it's sometimes like, oh, how do I work it into my, and I had a couple of instances come to mind. I'm not going to share all of them, but a couple of things were triggered as Jill and Heather were sharing some things, but slow down. Like, if that makes sense. I had a list of all these deliveries I had to make yesterday. Boom, boom, boom. I got to go here. And I map it out in my head. I'm going to go here because then I can turn here and I can get them all in this really perfect movement. Right. Well, what happened is I walked in and I was just like, I'm just dropping this off. Right. I'm dropping this off. I'm going. However, someone said, oh, hey, didn't you go to Italy? I was like, oh, yes, I did. And then we just talked and talked and talked and talked. And they're like, well, when did you go? And how did you go? Which then became, because I went to Italy through I earned it with Scentsy on the Mediterranean cruise. And I have found that a lot of my conversations that happen authentically have been because of the travels that I've gotten to do with Scentsy. So I think a lot of it is just that slowing down, like what Heather just said, listen to what people are talking about. And really be able to give tips that aren't necessarily, here I have a fragrance for that. Here I have something for that. It's just sharing your experiences, because isn't that what Scentsy is? It's an experience, whether you're a consultant or you're, a customer, or you're just wanting things that smell good. It's an experience. That's what we want Scentsy to be, as an experience. And we want it to be a good one. And so that was a really good reminder for me to slow down. Just slow down and listen and pay attention to your surroundings. I hear people talk about going to the post office and having bad experiences. I have a great post office. I don't know if anybody else feels that way, but I do. And for a long time, I was really not going to go to pirate ship because I wanted to go in and talk to my ladies. But you know what? They really thank me every time that I come in and drop my stuff off. They're like, we're so glad that you learned pirate ship. But it is just another opportunity, looking for those opportunities to, I'm not saying eavesdrop, okay? Don't eavesdrop on people, but look for those opportunities to share authentic experiences that you've had. Like I had a friend of mine message me the other day about, hey, doesn't your daughter live in Utah? What are some things I could do in Utah? Okay, I've been to Utah 600 million times. So I was able to share a lot of things, but I wanted her things. And I was able to share, I went to the convention center a couple of years ago. I've been there. It's just been a really great experience to share. So I think authentically, I can say it comes from a lot of my travels, and they're not all necessarily incentive trips that I've earned. It may be of going to see friends in different parts of the country, or different retreats, or it's a world tour. It's not necessarily always incentive trips. It's been anywhere that Scentsy has taken me in general. So sometimes that's just going to visit friends. So I think that would be what I'd say, is just stopping and listening to those opportunities to share how Scentsy has taken you all the different places. Callie?
All right, I'm gonna have a really simple answer today. I apologize. Legit, there's a couple things I do, but the first one would be, I always keep scent circles with a little label. I believe it's in the boards, resources that you guys can access. If I feel like lately I'm really awkward in conversations. I don't know what's happened to me, but I feel like sometimes those words don't come out the way I want. And so if I'm feeling that way, then I'm like, hey, I really enjoyed connecting with you today. So I want to give you something for my business that will make your day better, and it will help your world smell great. And so that's what I really use scent circles for. They're my favorite thing ever. I give them to some people at the bank. I give them to people that I run into. And then I also use it as an opportunity when I meet somebody that I really connect with. It's more of you know what? I like you. I actually pull up my Instagram, and I give them my link tree is linked through calitera.com. And so I just really try to connect with them more on social media. And when I see them follow, I go and follow back. And that's been pretty much how I fit it in, but it's just literally in the places that I go, because I don't, as most of you know my story, I don't have children. I don't go to a specific church. I don't go to school. Scensy's my full-time job. My husband, yes, he's in the military, but he keeps his work very separate. So Scentsy and this Scentsy circle are really, that's it. And so if I don't find time to implement it when I'm out of the house in those simple ways, like the grocery store, talking to them there, wearing the shirt. I've had people say, so are you with Scentsy? Do you work with Scentsy? And I'll be like, no, I just like to wear their gear. I don't know. And then they laugh, right? And it's just kind of a joke or whatever, but it's just to kind of get that connection. Miss Melissa.
I think she's bathing Arison. She's going to pass.
Oh, I missed that. I didn't see that. I'm
No,
sorry.
you're okay. She's giving her sweet baby boy a quick bath. And so we can go ahead and introduce our awesome, amazing guest speaker.
Absolutely. Okay, so we're going to go into our guest speaker tonight. So I had the opportunity to get to hear Miss Liz Howick at World Tour here in Meridian this last month, right? And I was listening to her and I was like, you know what? I really feel like what she presented today was something that more people in the field needed to hear. When we have those World Tours events, sometimes those things just jump out with you, at you. She had a lot of resources, and I felt like and not that the other presentations weren't great and not that other parts of World Tour weren't great, but as I was looking around the room, I felt when I saw people taking pictures and notes and things like that, Liz's presentation was where it was at. And it was even some things that I needed a reminder of. I'm not going to tell you what it is because she is, but she's a superstar director that lives in Utah. So I did have also some opportunities to get to know her when I lived there and spend a little bit more time with her. And she is just like the sweetest soul. You'll get to hear how sweet she is. And so, Liz, I just want to say thank you for coming and hanging out with us this evening and sharing. And so if you want to just go ahead and tell us anything else about yourself, I did post her bio, so I'm not going to read her whole bio. If you want to go read that. But Liz, just go ahead and unmute and take it away, my dear.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Boom. I don't know. If you read my bio, you kind of got the gist. I'm just kind of a spaz. I get paid to be a spaz. And that's why I love Scentsy, because I get to be myself, right? Born and raised in Utah. I lived in Kentucky for a while. We've got 3 kids that are mostly taller than me now. That's kind of creepy because when I started Scentsy, my baby was 2 months old and she's taller than me. So there's that. I just feel old, especially today, because I've decided to take the plunge and grow my gray hair out and I don't even recognize me on the camera. Anyway, so I was looking at my presentation today and wondering if I should screen share it because you guys won't be able to see it. Yes? Okay, Callie says go. All right, then you got to give me screen share. No. Welcome to the madness of my world right here. Let me see if I can start this slideshow. Nope. Somebody help me. Animations. Well, I'm just going to scroll. It's fine. It's fine. I got this. Hello.
Well, you do have your, there you go. You got it. I was going to say, you have your Trello up, but now it's full screen. Perfect.
Well, I'll point that out in a second. Yeah. I just made it big. I just, how do I start the slideshow?
I think it's from the beginning, top left.
Aha! I'm not tech challenged. It's fine. Okay. This is me. I can't believe that I've been doing something that I love this much for this long. Honestly, this is me celebrating last year at SFR. My sponsor, Jen Howick, and I are there on the far side. She and I got to walk for our 15 year. That was amazing. Can't believe I'm that old. And then over on the other side, you'll see me and Lisa Babb. That was a really epic moment for both of us because Scentsy was doing 3 years worth of walk the stage celebrations at SFR. We both got to walk, even though we both promoted to SSD a year apart together. And so it was so fun because I went out first and I said my name wrong. It was fine. And then I turned back and there was Lisa and we kind of met in the middle of the stage and we threw our arms wide. And I don't know if you can tell, but in that picture, I'm holding a picture of my dear friend, Nikki Lenton, who passed away. And I inherited her team. And so I work every day to honor her memory. And that was really important to me that she be there with me. So anyway, that's me in a nutshell. And this is me hiking in Arches. So last February, some friends of ours were like, hey, you guys, we just did Angel's Landing in the freezing cold and you have to come do this with us. And I said, I'm not doing Angel's Landing in the freezing cold and ice. No, thank you. But they said Arches is great and it's right next door. So they took us to Arches and they said, you guys, you have to bring ice cleats because the last 100 yards to get to Delicate Arch, that fabulous thing you see in the background there, is a full ice sheet, like 4 inches of ice, and it's all uphill. You cannot get through that unless you have ice cleats. Also, you need to wear 4 layers of clothing because it was like 2 degrees or something. So it was really, really, really cold and so worth it because when we came around that, when we got up the ice, we, the last 100 yards, really, you don't even know that the arch is around the corner. And when I saw that thing come into view, I actually gasped and I yelled, which was probably not a good thing to do because, well, it's a long story. I yelled, that's what I'm talking about. And everybody laughed. Like, there's not a lot of people there in the winter, but everybody heard everything I said because in front of the arch is this massive bowl. And it like, you'll lose your cell phone and your shoes and whatever if you don't watch what you're doing. But that made all the sound echo off and it was really fun. Anyway, the reason why I bring any of this up is because they looked out for us and they told us to bring ice cleats and wear appropriate gear, right? I never would have had this experience without them telling us what to do and looking out for us and being there with us, right? It was awesome. So here's my look out for others presentation, slideshow coming at you. I'm gonna try. They only gave me a half an hour at SFR and I failed miserably to maintain it within the half an hour. So I'm going to try and do it justice tonight because you guys gave me plenty of time, right? Or I know Heather's laughing. Okay, okay, I'm spaz. I told you. Also, I'm caffeinated. All right. Here's what look out for others means. It's basically me opening my heart and letting you know what my challenges are because I love you and I don't want you to go through what I went through and feel alone when you get to whatever I got to, right? That's basically what it is. We all face challenges, but if we can master resilience, we can get through it with grace and we can help build those strong communities that we want because when you connect with people, the sticky bonds form and you want to be friends and you want to hang out and your customers will want to keep hanging out with you and keep buying from you because you're awesome. Why it's important is because well, it is. We all face challenges. And like I say, I don't want you to have to go through what I did. I'm just going to hand you all the things that I've learned is basically what tonight is. So I want you to focus on being empathetic and resilient and finding joy in the journey. I already went over this. Here's how it works. You relate to other people. You'll pick up on things when you talk to people, right? We do all the time. You'll hear people say that they can't afford Scentsy, but really would like to. What does that do? It cues you and you know what to do in that situation. But maybe you pick up on things that people aren't really saying. Like you pick up the fact that they are going through some really tough times. And when you get to know them a little bit better, you understand that maybe their child has cancer. And you can relate to that pain and stress and you want to help them. And you actually can if you do a Scentsy fundraiser. So stuff like that, where you just pick up on things that you can actually really connect well with people on. And if you act on that and act in an empathetic, fabulous way, then it's going to help you. And that's really what this is all about. I love Maya Angelou. I think she's amazing. She said, I've learned that people will forget what you said, they'll forget what you did, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. So we always need to remember how we make people feel. We need to think about that, especially when we get into situations where we get upset or frustrated, right? A lot of what I'm going to talk about tonight is about empathy because empathy is magic and empathy works really well to help you in every situation. It's like when I was raising tiny kids and they were always doing things I didn't want them to do to each other. And I would say, use the golden rule, treat other people the way you want to be treated. It works in every situation and it still does as an adult. That's basically what empathy is. So empathy works so well because it does not require a solution. It requires only understanding, which is hard to get to if you don't really care about that person, right? Albert Einstein said, empathy is patiently and sincerely seeing the world through the other person's eyes. It's not learned in school. It's not it is cultivated over a lifetime. It takes a long time to really clue into that. If you're building a team, Oprah Winfrey said, leadership is about empathy. It's about having the ability to relate to and connect with people for the purpose of inspiring and empowering their lives. Oh, that's just bold and I love it. All right, here's where I list off all the things that I have gone through in 16 years as a Scentsy consultant. It's not all of them. It's just the hard ones. I had some entitled expectations along the way, especially when I started and then when I got into the leadership roles. I have high anxiety, and I know we talk about this a lot on shift. You guys don't know, but I watch you a lot, and I love you. And I wanted to actually start tonight by telling you how much I appreciate what you did. Before Thursday night shift started, you guys were running the monthly movement group, and what you came up with for those QR code parties in April, active in April, changed the trajectory of Scentsy and gave all of us something to work for and to make a living during that pandemic quarantine. And I just love you for it. And kudos, thank you very much. I struggled through having babies and working and trying to fit Scentsy in. I've got tons of tools to help you if you're there. I've struggled with the growth and the dips. Again, that's part of those entitled expectations that I've grappled with a few times. The biggest, hugest, hardest thing for me to get through, get past, and now I feel like I can really help if you're here, is negative self-talk and imposter syndrome, because it literally robbed me. I robbed myself of 10 years of momentum in my Scentsy business because I didn't really understand what was going on. I didn't see it for what it was, and I didn't know how to help myself get through it. So I've got some really good tools for that tonight too. And the last thing is tons of personal stuff, right? Epic marital challenges, family drama galore, mental and physical health, and of course, death and grief. I'm actually going to go there because I had a near-death experience and it changed my life. So moving on, this is actually what, as I thought about all of the things that I've been through, this is how I got through it. And so you're going to see little grids like this over and over again for each of those things I just talked about, and I'll go over them if I have time. But basically the gist is I learned the hard way that when I face challenges, the best thing to do first is to look at the situation and see it for what it is. Because we all kind of live in our heads and we all have biases and we all have belief systems that we're basing things on and our past experiences that we're basing things on. But if we can take kind of a 1,000-foot view of what actually is happening, that can change what's going on in our head big time. It's like taking in data points when you're trying to figure out whether you should do something or not. If you step back and look at it outside of you, maybe, then you just get a better view of what's going on. So asking really key questions like, what is going on? Why is it going on? The biggest thing for me was, look, I'm stuck in negativity. If I keep thinking this way or doing this over and over again, will it help me? Is it helping anyone to do anything good? No, it's not. That's the side note. It definitely isn't. Empathy has a ton to do with it. When I was frustrated with certain people or in certain situations, when I was frustrated with what was going on with home office sometimes, realizing that looking at other people as people instead of objects in my way, does that make sense? That was key for me to getting through the really hard parts of my Scentsy journey. If you can put yourself in the other person's shoes, that changes the way you deal with them. That changes what you think about them and how you feel about them. Asking positively framed questions was massive. Saying, what can I do instead of what can't I do, right? And all of that leads to empowerment and resilience. So let's talk about my entitled expectations. I hate to admit this, but I joined in 2006 when we didn't have anything like we have now. Our training consisted of getting together and talking about how to do things, or emails where people would give you bullet points for this is what I put in my basket party, or this is a step-by-step how to place an order. I mean, it was really very different, very basic, and like a different world almost than we have now. Now we have trainings and videos available to us 24/7, 365 in the workstation. So it's like at our fingertips. But I came from financial services. I worked for Goldman Sachs and Fidelity Investments, and I trained people to do what I did. And it took at least a month of them sitting next to me sitting next to them, like going over things teeny tiny, nitty gritty. And so I kind of expected that major hand holding. And so when I didn't get it, I was like, what's going on? How come I'm not getting the attention that I think I should get? And so I had to recognize that there was more going on than I thought. Like my perspective coming from that training in my job wasn't a good expectation for what we do at Scentsy. So I had to look at what was going on and say, no, this disappointment or whatever I'm feeling isn't doing me any good. So what can I do? I had to empathize with my sponsor. She joined 2 days before I did, maybe 3 now, I can't remember. So I obviously couldn't expect her to hold my hand. We kind of had to figure out things together. But I expected my upline to help out, right? Definitely did. Offered me all kinds of help and was there for me on lots of levels. But just because it wasn't what I expected, I thought, wait a minute, Liz, you're being so rude. Like, seriously. And I love my upline. Please don't get me wrong. I just had really stupid expectations. So I had to be like, if I was her or them, would I have time to sit next to somebody for 75,000 hours and walk them through and hold their hand on every single little thing? No, the answer is no. Like, I can't hold them to that expectation. So why am I doing that? I had to ask myself that positively framed question. Where can I get the info? What can I do? Not what can they do? What can I do? Because it's my business and I run it. I'm going to turn it into what I want it to be. They don't have anything to do with it. So if you are in that position, if you've just started, please do not wait for somebody to hold your hand through everything. There are lots of people who probably are willing to, but I don't want you to feel like you are supposed to get that kind of handholding. You don't need it. You can go to the workstation 24/7 and find anything you want, or go to YouTube and find anything you want. And there's 10,000 different ideas out there that you can look at, different things you can try, but it's up to you. And that's what I wanted to say. It's definitely up to you. You steer your own ship. Taylor Swift said, where's my Swifties at? Keep your hopes high and your expectations low. You are not entitled to anything, but there is nothing you can't earn. And I totally believe that and agree with that, especially in our journeys. You hold the key to your future, period, the end. Peter Drucker said, not Drucker. The best way to predict your future is to create it. I think that's so positive. I love that. You guys will realize, if you don't know me yet, that I love quotes and they're all over the place. And so they're all through this. All right, let's talk about anxiety. I'm high anxiety, a little bit ADD too, can you tell? And so my biggest hurdle, especially at the beginning, was seeing myself as a consultant who did the kinds of things that successful consultants do. So that fear of failure stopped me in my tracks right at the beginning. And also being able to step outside of my comfort zone, because I had never done a home party in my life. I had no idea what I was doing. And I really just felt like I wanted to watch people do it over and over again. I wish we had YouTube back then, seriously. So everybody, I think, deals with this, right? We talk about it all the time. And I think this is like getting in our own way, right? Telling ourselves we can't do it, getting stuck in fear. You need to recognize that that's not getting you anywhere. I had to recognize that. I'm like, okay, if I sit here being scared, that's never going to help me reach out and ask my friend if she'll host a party for me, right? Like, if I just sit here, nothing's going to happen. So I have to move. I had to tell myself that I was capable, because I saw all these other people that could do it fabulously. And I'm like, if they can do it, I can do it. I had to ask myself those positively framed questions. How are all these regular people with way more hard challenges than I have succeeding at this? And what can I do? What can I do or try that's working for them? That led to all the empowerment in the world, because I did my first show and I'm like, oh, this is so easy. All I have to do is tell people what I love about Scentsy, and that's it. Besides, hauling things to a house and setting it up on a table and learning the hard way not to take too much with me and little things like that. But anyway, you get the idea. You will prove to yourself that you can do anything with every single win that you have. So I want you to celebrate every single win that you have. Just tell yourself you can do anything. Give yourself 20, what's the saying, guys? 30 seconds of courage, crazy courage to get through and do whatever you want. That's what I'm talking about. That is so empowering, and you have to give yourself a try. You can't shut yourself down at the beginning and not go anywhere with this, because, oh my gosh, the world is open to you as a Scentsy consultant, and the sky's the limit. Theodore Roosevelt said, believe you can and you're halfway there. 50% done, guys, on the downhill slope, guys. And all you have to do is believe that you can do it. Jack Canfield said, everything you want's on the other side of fear. I wish that I had learned this so much earlier in my Scentsy career. I got it now, totally got it now. It took me probably a year to really get it, but that's a long story. I didn't give myself enough courage to try a lot of this until I almost went inactive twice before I really gave it a go. Oh, this is my favorite. Who's got babies and a job, or just a job and no babies? Or, you're just overwhelmed trying to work Scentsy into your life, right? All this is for you. This is me talking to who I was back then. I wish somebody had handed me this stuff. It was hard for me to figure out some of these things. If you've already figured them out, great. I'm proud of you. I'm happy for you. But if you haven't, I'm going to give you some stuff that is going to change your world, rock your world, for the better. It's changed my life. So time challenges are hard, especially for somebody with ADD and high anxiety. I totally get the exhaustion when you've got little people and you're not sleeping and you're just in survival mode, right? Please, please, please recognize that you have limits. And when you feel like you get to that whatever those limits are, you need to take care of you. Even if it's 5 minutes rubbing your feet with lotion or taking a bath or a shower or whatever you can do. You need to take care of you so that you can pour into your own cup, because it's empty and you can't give anybody else anything if your own cup is empty. Constant stress equals burnout. Be careful. Don't sit in negativity, in that pity party. For me, it was like, oh my gosh, my world is nothing like I thought it was going to be like right now. What do? I feel so overwhelmed, right? If you sit there in negativity, it's not going to help you. You have to turn that around somehow and look for the bright side in everything. I want you to have patience with yourself. It's super hard when you're overwhelmed, right? And I want you to have patience for other people too, especially your kids if you are raising children, because they need you to be patient and you need to be a good example to them. Positively framed questions helped me the best. What can I do? What can I do? What would help, right? All of that led to what I'm about to share with you. I wanted Scentsy to work so badly. I have to tell you my story. I used to work for Goldman Sachs and I was giving them 60 hours a week and I hated it. I had 2 tiny kids at home. I was pregnant. When I had my 3rd baby, I said, whoa, I cannot do this anymore. I want to go part-time. And when I was on maternity leave, I joined Scentsy. And a year and a half later, I was a zombie mama. My kids don't sleep until they're a year old, right? And I was just at my wit's end, and they laid me off because they were cutting part-time headcount. And I said to myself, I do not want to apply for a full-time job there. And I don't want to work anywhere else. I just want to stay home and raise my kids. And my husband said, why don't you see if Scentsy works and give it a try for a while. If it doesn't work, then you can, look for another job. I can't tell you how grateful I am that he said that, because I went for it and here I am 16 years later and my kids are taller than me and I love what I do and I get to work my own hours. I control my paycheck. I control my time. It's amazing. I was talking to my sister-in-law over the weekend and I'm just so grateful that I'm not in a job where, I don't know, the politics of working in a job. I just am so glad I don't have to deal with any of that, and no commute and no spending tons of money on lunches or gas. I mean, like, seriously, this is the bomb. So I wanted Scentsy to work so bad that I just found ways to work it into my life. So I'm glad you started with that question tonight. I did all the things that you guys talked about, all of them, and some really fun off the wall things that I got from your mom, Callie. I took a bag of my Scentsy stuff with me to Costco all the time because, you can't leave it in the car. It's going to melt in the summer. And then people would be like, oh, do you sell Scentsy? And I'd be like, yes, here's my card. You know, it was stuff like that. I started my business where I went to all my doctor's offices, my pediatrician, you know, places like that. And I was like, would you like to enjoy this in your lobby for a couple weeks? And, you know, if anybody wants to order, here's my card. That's all you have to do. I'll be back to bring some more wax for you. Here's an outlet timer so you can, I'll program it to turn itself off when after hours. And that's really how I grew my business. Like I got so many parties from that. And I always had somebody who worked at the office join my team because their clients were asking them all these questions about Scentsy and they could answer them. And they could easily see themselves doing this, right? And leaving that warmer in their office or their warmer in the office forever and just collecting orders. So that worked for me. I created habits and systems that changed my life. And that's what I'm going to share with you. I also want you to Google a little thing called Tiny Drops of Awesome. No, not tiny, just Drops of Awesome. Story about a mom who was frazzled and she figured out that any little thing she did right helped buoy her up. And that's just all I'm going to tell you to Google about that. When you're in this place, you just have to give yourself grace and realize that anything that you do that helps you work towards your goals or being a better mom or more organized or whatever you want, anything that you do is worth celebrating. And that'll kind of change what's going on in your brain so that you'll shift from feeling negative about yourself in your life to, oh my gosh, I did that and I can do that again. So this is what I did. I just wrote down all the things that I learned the hard way to how to save time so that you have time to work Scentsy. I'm not going to take time to talk about it. I gave you the link there and I'll show you when I'm all done my Trello board that I love where I dump all my favorite ideas that you guys can access anytime you want. You can read through this and go through this. But I also did a live on United We Rise a couple weeks ago, and I walked through how to save time so you have time to work Scentsy. So feel free to go find that. If you're not in United We Rise, highly recommend. The other thing that I learned, and I just put in place in 2021, was I started using everything Google to keep myself on track. I'm easily sidetracked, and especially if you've got tiny kids and you're always getting off track. What I do with my Google Keep Notes and my habit tracker now helps me get back on track in 2 seconds when I get off track from whatever life throws at me. So there you go. These are amazing. I freaking love them. I'm so proud that I have changed who I am because of these things. And I want to talk about them more, but I know I don't have time. This will change your life. This is yours too. It's in my Trello board. It is another Trello board that I created to figure out what's for dinner. And I can real-time meal prep in 2 minutes for the whole week. And that changed my life. I love food. I love to collect recipes. And so I've got a massive Pinterest board with all my favorite stuff on it. And all I did, because I hated the what's for dinner, mom question, when I wasn't prepared, it just created all this stress for me. And I'd be like, I'd open up the cupboard and go, I don't know, what can I figure out for dinner? Hated that. And I thought, how can I change that? Something's got to change. How can I change that? And I just wrote down 30 things that my family would eat that I could make. And what you're looking at here is my beautified version where I just dumped all those things into Trello and I've just added to it. So I just created these lists that are protein-based meal types. And all I do is I drag the cards from this week back to the bottom of the lists that they belong in. And then because the stuff at the top of the list hasn't been made for a while, I don't get bored of what I make all the time, but I'll just be like, okay, so in this example, chicken tikka masala is going to go to the bottom of the poultry list, and I'm going to pull chicken sausages over, right? Do you get the idea? Like, I seriously can meal plan in 2.5 minutes, and it's fabulous. And then I just tell Google what to add to my shopping list, and I never forget what to buy at the grocery store ever again. It's fantastic. So there you go. Oh, you can copy that. Anything I do in Trello, you can copy it and make it yours if you want, or you can keep looking at my stuff. It's up to you. All right, growth and dips. This one I think I did to myself, and I think we all do this, especially if you don't understand the cyclical nature of Scentsy and direct sales, or if you have a team and you're like expecting them to do things, you're expecting them to be as plugged in as you are, and then you're disappointed when they're not, right? So I felt those challenges. I felt really overwhelmed during the growth phases when things were exploding and tons of people were being added to my team. And I'm like, I don't know how to onboard. What do I do? How do I help all these people all at once? That's what the first things first checklist is for when they log into the workstation. That's what all the training is for. Please relax about that. Back in the day though, I felt like I had to create it all and be there for everyone the way that I wanted. You know what I mean? It was just really hard. I felt like I realized that I was putting all that pressure on myself to reach everyone all the time and be available 24/7 and never turn off. And that was affecting my family life. And I had to set business working hours and tell my team, look, I know that we do a lot of evening Scentsy parties, but I'm not going to be available 24/7 to answer everything. You're going to have to learn to find what you need in the workstation. The other thing was so we have cycles. If you're brand new, our fall is usually fantastic and we sell a whole bunch. And then people are done buying. Well, don't say that to yourself, because seriously, people sold $10,000 in January this last year to get on the incentive trip. I'm so impressed with people who could do that. But you know what I'm saying? Like you tell yourself that people are done buying after Christmas. And so you think that January is going to be a slow month. But that's just been my experience, is that we have cycles and some months are better than others, and it's okay. It's just normal. So recognize that you can't be everything to everyone. Empathize and tell people it's okay. And also please empathize with yourself. Sometimes it's okay to do what works for you. I'm going to say that again. It's okay to do what works for you. This is a come as you are business. So don't feel like you have to put on a persona or be something because you suddenly are a leader, right? Because you suddenly are a sponsor. Like, just be yourself and figure it out. It'll be fine. Ask positively framed questions. What can I do to simplify? And what can I do to be consistent? Those are life-changing questions, my friends. What can I do to simplify? And what can I do to be consistent? I have realized that my success is completely based on how consistent I am with my systems. So if you don't have any systems, please Google. Feel free to check out anything I do. If it works for you, great. You'll figure it out for yourself eventually. When I went through all of this, I realized that the best thing for me to do was to focus on my front line instead of feeling like I had to be everything to everyone on my team. Focus on your front line and then teach them to focus on theirs. That's the best thing you can do. The other thing is to put your energy into the key aspects of your own business. If you don't have a team yet, this is where you start, is Power Hour. Power Hour is amazing and totally changed my business. It basically is you taking the 5 key things in your business and doing them every day, because that consistency, doing it every day, is how you're going to see success overall in the long run. I put my eye on the prize. So I look at what my goals are every day. I track my numbers every day. I'm looking at that. I plug in. So I'm looking at the workstation, the news tab, so that I can answer questions and I know what's going on, because I don't want to feel clueless. I do a ton. I have a great follow-up system that has kept me in business all these years. So that's another key area. Expanding your network is also huge, because if you don't keep expanding your network and meeting new people and finding new places and ways to show people what Scentsy is, then your business is going to shrink. That's just what's going to happen if you don't keep trying. And then supporting your team. So I put that last because I learned the hard way too, that when I first became a director, I started dumping all of my energy into my team, and then my business suffered. So I had to change that, and I rearranged my life and my dedicated time with Scentsy so that I work on my business first, and then I can have a blast supporting and helping my team. Zach Fraser said the key to success is consistency, and right now the only way you can actually take action is to believe in yourself. There's believing in yourself again. I don't really like how he phrased it, but I learned from James Clear from Atomic Habits, chapter 2. I read it about once a month because it's all about how you can change what you believe about yourself based on what you do. I don't know how to go back, so we're just going to skip that other quote. Oh, I went way too far. Hold on, I got to figure out how to go back. Previous. See, I don't want to. Hold on, hold please. Nope, just a sec. Just a sec. Seriously, I got way ahead of myself there, you guys. Okay. The other quote is, if you are persistent, you'll get it. And if you're consistent, you'll keep it. So read that again. If you're consistent, you'll keep it. Whatever you have built, you have to stay consistent at it. All right, into negative self-talk and imposter syndrome. This one I could really spend an hour on, but I won't. I can't. Basically, in a nutshell, negative self-talk is that voice in your head that you hear all the time that tells you you're not good at this, you can't do this, you're not like her and she's fabulous and you'll never be like that. You did that wrong. Whatever all that negative garbage is that's in your head, that's what negative self-talk is. And it's super normal. It's not like you're unusual if you have this at all, but it leads over time to imposter syndrome. And imposter syndrome is basically, you're worried that people are going to think that you are doing everything wrong and they're going to point at you and say, she's doing it wrong. And you're going to feel all embarrassed and terrible about it. I learned the hard way that, the really hard way, that to get through this, you have to change the narrative in your head. And you can do it. You can rewire your brain. And I'll tell you how to do it. The first thing is to ask yourself if it's true. You have to have that perspective. If you're telling yourself that you're terrible at talking to people, that is not true. You talk to people all the time. Think about how you talk to people that are your best friends. I mean, you're not bad at talking to people. You can share Scentsy with people. You just, like we've talked about earlier today, you just do it in a natural way. That's just an example. Whatever you're telling yourself, ask yourself if it's true. Ask yourself if what you're thinking is helpful, if what you're doing is helpful, because it's not. If you keep that negative garbage in your head all the time, it is not going to help you at all. You need to empathize and recognize that you wouldn't say the kind of stuff that you tell yourself to a friend. So how dare you not treat yourself better? So don't tell yourself that you can't do that. Don't say all that. A few years ago, I was walking through my kids' elementary school, and on the wall next to this door was a little sign, and it said, all put downs go in the garbage where they belong. And I will add, especially the put downs that you tell yourself. So chuck it in the garbage. Visualize chucking that negative garbage in the garbage. Ask yourself positively framed questions. What can I do? I want you to catch it fast when you hear that negative stuff in your head. Catch it fast and prove it wrong. That is you changing the narrative. If you hear something and you're like, wait a second, is that true? Hell no. And tell yourself why it's not true, because then eventually that voice quiets in your head because you rewire your brain to believe that you're amazingly capable of whatever you set your mind to. I want you to stop comparing yourself to others. It is terrible to do that. The only person that you should be comparing yourself to ever is who you were yesterday or last week or last year, okay? I want you to remember why you started. If you've been doing Scentsy for a long, long time, why did you start? What did you love about it? Go back to doing whatever that was, okay? Because that brought you joy and that will bring you joy again. I want you to keep a gratitude journal. This was huge for me. When we're talking about rewiring our brains, if you keep a gratitude journal where you are trying to write down 3 things a day that you're grateful for, you can't do that unless you think about what you're grateful for, number one. But the second thing is, because you know you're going to do that every night, during the day, you are subconsciously looking for things that you're grateful for that you'll write down that night, right? So you are training your brain to look for positivity in your everyday life. And that was key for me. Here's some reminders about imposter syndrome. Everybody gets it. So don't feel like you're weird. Everybody gets it, literally everybody. We're all a work in progress. Nobody has it all figured out. I want you to talk to people, find your Scentsy tribe and hang out with them. You know how we say all the time, you're either stuck in a bubble or you're stuck in a not stuck. I shouldn't say stuck. You're looking at people who are uplifting you all the time. That's what you need to look. That's what you need to look for and go for and find your people. We all learn from our mistakes. It's called experience, and experience is what shapes our lives. So don't feel bad. Just realize that you definitely can get through all this garbage. I love this. I found this website called queenofyourownlife.com. Here's one of their little things. She had a classic case of imposter syndrome, spending endless hours worrying someone would discover she was not good enough, smart enough, or any other enough. When she realized being her true self was the one thing no one else could be, she finally understood she was good enough. I love it. All right, death and grief. Woo! I really don't want, I mean, it's weird to even go here with any kind of Scentsy training whatsoever, but I wanted to bring it up because it's led me to a very positive place. So in 2012, I had a near-death experience myself and almost died. I went in to get an MRI to see if I had a brain tumor. No stress. And I don't. I have a brain malformation, and it's a long story. I'm doing fine. But the gadolinium contrast dye that they injected me with almost killed me. So I was laying on the table dying, and the doctor that they had on call, who rushed in and called the EMTs and is responsible for saving my life, held my hand when I thought I was going, when I thought I was alone, that this was going to be it. And that experience changed me in lots of ways. Number one, I think about him just taking my hand to offer that beautiful gesture of human kindness every time I see anybody suffering, because the way he helped me in that moment is epic. And I know that I can help other people who have been through the crap and garbage that I've been through, which is why I'm on tonight. The other thing is, after I went to the ER for a couple of days and spent some time in the ICU, I recovered, and I came away from that realizing how fragile life is and how fragile I am. And like I say, I looked at that moment when I was dying, and I think, I do not want to end there. I have so much more I want to do with my life. I do not want to leave opportunities on the table. And the reason why I bring this up at all is because Scentsy is one of them. Scentsy's huge. Scentsy is a way that I have embraced who I am and done things and been places, and the relationships that I've made, and the ability to stay home and raise my kids. Like, any of that happened because I connected with Scentsy, and I love fragrance, and I love people, and I love helping, and I love training. I want to turn my life, I want to make my life into something more than what it was back in 2012. I have a bucket list, people, and I'm checking stuff off. The other reason I bring this up is because in the last 5 years, I've lost 8 family members and friends. I lost my dad and my sister to cancer 11 years apart. And I've lost 2 dear friends, and I've lost aunts and uncles. And it's really hard to get through that grief. And I was at a point where I didn't want to get out of bed. Like, it was awful, terrible grief. And here's what you do. You recognize, if you're in that it's normal. I know a lot of us have lost a lot of loved ones with this stupid damn pandemic. Self-care is huge. Allow yourself time. Ask yourself positively framed questions. I turned the whole thing of losing my loved ones into something beautiful. When my dad died, my neighbor brought over a little butterfly magnet, and she told me this little thing about how if you see butterflies, there's this saying that, think about your loved one being happy and in a better place. And at first I thought that was kind of hokey and cheesy, but the more I saw that on my fridge, the more it hit me. And I thought of my dad every time I saw it. And then when my sister died, I got another butterfly for her. And when my friend Nikki Linton died, I got another butterfly for her. And I have a fridge full of butterflies. And I actually found a butterfly atrium Scentsy worm from somebody, and it's covered in butterflies from people I've lost. So I created a thing that I'll give you access to that is a little print off that you can print. It's a Canva thing, and you can get these little magnets from Amazon. and you can share them with people that you know who've lost somebody and connect with them that way. When I shared this presentation at World Tour, I had a line of people come up to me afterward because I had brought like a dozen of them. And that was a really fabulous thing to connect with people like that. It was great. And you can share it too. I shared this with one of my best customers lost her mom to COVID early on. And when I gave her a butterfly, it was just fabulous. And she came to me later and she said, Liz, I need to make these and send them to my friends. So I've created a little thing. You can use that if you want. I learned to cherish the relationships and the time that I have with my loved ones. I learned that perspective is huge. I learned that you can help others and that will uplift you. Even if you are in a terrible place, if you help other people, it helps you get out of that depression or wherever you are. I want you to work for what you want and have no regrets. I love this quote. Life is beautiful. Enjoy every moment of it. If you're not, make a bucket list and go for it. I love carpe diem. It means seize the day. If you've watched the, what is it, Dead Poets Society from, I think it was the 80s or 90s. I love that movie. Carpe diem, seize the day, boys. That means something to me. Seize the day is huge. And I try every day to make what I do matter and spend my time wisely. Life is meant to be experienced. Put yourself out there, including Scentsy. Do the things you've never done. Live the life where at the end, you'll have no regrets. That's how you're going to find joy in this life, is to live the life where you won't have regrets. So to recap, we're all going to face and overcome challenges and obstacles, but if we master resilience, we will learn to shift our mindset and move forward positively. And all of that is going to help us build a stronger community. It's basically just sharing your life with the people in your life to make sticky connections and relationships. And Scentsy's naturally going to be a part of that because you love it and you'll share it like that. That's how you build a big community. How do you stay focused and motivated despite your struggles? For me, I just have perspective. I've been in this for a super long time. And so when I have people come to me and they're like, this thing is bothering me, or this person, or whatever is happening, and I just having that perspective of seeing Scentsy grow from the very beginning to what it is now, I don't get frustrated and I don't get stuck on certain things anymore because I know that it's not the tiny focused area that people are focusing on. How does your perspective help you connect with your customers? We talked about that. It's just sharing, connecting, talking about what you have in common. What do you think will have the biggest impact on your business? Honestly, it's treating other people the way you would want to be treated in every situation that you come across. Everything. Treat other people the way you would want to be treated. Here's a list of great stuff for you. I have read a lot, and one of my favorite things that probably saved my marriage is a book called Leadership and Self-Deception. It's by the Arbinger Institute. That one taught me to see people as people, not objects in my way. The Go-Giver series, there's like 4 books. I've read the first and second. Bob Berg and David Mann. That one teaches you to serve people because that's how you're going to succeed. Never Lose a Customer Again is really good by Joey Coleman. That one teaches you to put yourself in your customer's shoes and tweak everything you do so with your customers so that their experience is really positive and what they're looking for, not what you're looking for. Atomic Habits by James Clear. I showed you that. Chapter 2, you can change what you believe about yourself based on what you prove to yourself by your daily actions. I'm done.
Liz, I'm like blown away right now. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I have to just say this really quick because I love your vulnerability. You are so like Ruth, like raw, real. What you see is what you get. Your excitement, your heart, what you shared tonight. Like, I was like in tears a couple of times because I'm sitting here thinking all the things in my life. Like, you know how you like put yourself in a situation where you're like, oh no, I'm guarded. I'm not going to say anything. I don't want to show this emotion because it makes you look weak or you feel weak or, you know, it's all these emotions. Tonight, I have to say, like, you are such an inspiration and I cannot thank you enough for coming on here. And I hope you see it in the thread of all the people on Facebook Live And in this group, like what you see is what you get. It is very real. Sorry, Rip is playing with his toy. I apologize, you guys. We had a little problem during the Zoom tonight, but I just want to thank you because I love the realness. I love the rawness. I love how honest you were about all of it. And I think it's a lot of things that people don't talk about in this business. I think it's like, oh, it's like the perfect scenario, but you just lay it all on the line, and you are such an inspiration. I think you are one of those gems that we just needed to hear from, honestly.
Thank you.
And I really, really, really enjoyed this, Liz, so much.
I told you I was a spaz.
No, I'm a spaz too. I don't care. Listen, I'm a spaz too. But the fact that you are so real and raw and just laying it all on the line, I totally respect and I absolutely love.
Thank you. I just learned, honesty is always the best policy. I think nobody's going to gain anything if we just gloss over stuff that matters. So
I agree, but that's so hard for so many people to do. And so I applaud you. I really, really, really enjoyed tonight.
I haven't looked at the chat at all. You'll have to tell me.
Oh, you should see both sides. It is amazing, Liz. Like, oh, sorry, it's my cup of water.
I gotta show you Trello. Hold, please.
Oh, yeah, we haven't even seen your magical Trello board. And you presented this on a Tuesday training with Scentsy.
I did.
And I watched it. It was so good.
Well, thank you. It's on YouTube too, if you want to find it. In its infancy, last April. What you're looking at is my Scentsy brain dumped into a Trello board, and I'm super visual, and I love being able to see everything all at once. So at a glance kind of stuff. So all I do is, okay, this looks massive, but I just started dumping good ideas in here. Like I'd come across stuff in Facebook and I'd be like, I am sick of forgetting where did I see that? I need that now. Where am I going to find that? And then I'd spend 5 hours lost in Facebook land trying to figure out what group I saw it in. No more, because of Trello. All I do is when I find it, I snag the picture, I dump the image, I love this idea. This one is Johanna Luna's little tabs on her catalog. So cute. I don't know, snap and share stuff. Like it's all in here. Everything that I ever thought was cool is in here. But what I wanted to show you was, here's how to save time so you have time to work Scentsy. Ta-da! And I'll walk you through it all right there. That's all I'm doing. Seriously, it's not epic or anything. It's just how my brain works. How to make doing taxes as easy as possible. Here's like 12 things that you can do to make your life easier. Okay, done. That menu thing is at the bottom. You can go to this board and copy it, and it's yours. And then you can go into the cards and create your own cards for what you and your family want to eat. You can add recipe links to it or whatever, but this is how you do this. I'll show you how fast it is. Shredded beef tacos. Sweet pulled pork. See what I mean? Like you're just clearing it out. It's fine. Jambalaya. And then baked potato bar. Okay, and then all I'm doing is I'm going back to the top. Okay, we're having cashew chicken and stroganoff, and see what I mean? Check it out, you guys. I just planned the whole week in 2 seconds. Boom. No more stress. What's for dinner? There it is. And then you just find recipes for those things or whatever. You don't have to eat what I make. You can make your own list. You can do whatever you want. What else was I going to show you in here? I don't know. I just closed Trello. Hold, please. Trello. So Trello's free, super easy. You can do whatever you want with it. I love it. I dumped training in here for my team. I put all of the news stories in here, but I train them to go to the workstation because I'm not going to be answering. I used to copy and paste and put all of the news story text in here too. And then I was like, no, I got to train them to go to the workstation and find it for themselves. Otherwise, they're going to use me as a crutch whenever they need to find something. And it's just dumb. Like everybody knows to go to the workstation. So if you click on this card and you're like, what's happening? Well, there's the link to go read more. This is my fave. I'm going to go over this one we're doing a Keep It Scentsy Simple group on Facebook starting in April. And I'm going to talk about this. How to get mail as cheap as possible. There you go. That's what the U.S. Postal Service actually wants you to know about how to keep it thin and bendable. Anyway, all of this is in here and you guys are welcome to check it out if you want. I'm losing my voice.
You're amazing. Thank you. You know what that tells me? And I wrote this down because I really, really, really loved this quote. And it was, my success is based on my consistency with my systems.
Absolutely.
And so the fact that like that works, like you just have to find what systems you can be consistent in, because that will determine your success. And so I'm so grateful for you sharing that. I'm so grateful. I'm glad I got to hear you so that you come and share this with the community, because it just, all I think is everything we need to hear. I have more notes here, but we are a little over the hour. So but like, you just truly are amazing. So.
And so authentic and so real. I'm saying, I mean, if you could see the comments on the other page on Facebook, Liz, I mean, you are a ray of sunshine. I love it.
Yes. I think anything, I hope that you learn from this as well, is to get out of your own way. Like that was the other major thing I like wrote a big star by, was we are the ones that get in the way of our own success most of the time. It's not anything else. It's not anybody else. It's us. It's our lack of belief in ourselves. It's us just getting in our feels. And like we can, like Amy had put a comment in the chat, we can get into our feels. We just can't unpack and live there. Right. Like there was just so much greatness from this. So
it really
Jen,
was.
JP, Jill, you have anything you want to say before we wrap it up tonight? Heather, anything else?
Jen?
I just wanted to say it was amazing. Thank you. I can't say any more that anyone else hasn't already said, because it was very refreshing and very appreciated.
It makes me cry. I literally cry. I mean, I had tears in my eyes tonight.
Life happens. You got to roll with it. You can't.
No, you're absolutely right. Life is short. Listen, yes, I am with you, Liz. You and I are like, you're driving and I'm sitting shotgun. I'm with you, girl. I am with you.
I love you guys. I really do. Thank you so much.
No, we love you. You are just a hidden gem and I adore you.
Well, I'm on that note.
On that note, thank you everybody for joining us at Shift tonight. And again, Liz, thank you so much for pouring into our community. We're so grateful for leaders and those like you in our community that just have so much amazingness. We hope you guys can join us next week. Go share this with your friends and your teams, because I think it's a message everybody needs to hear. And we'll catch you back here next week. Have a great night, guys.
Next Thursday. Bye, guys.